One thing that I'm sure you've seen as much as I have is the absurd, exorbitant amounts of like biohacks that people in our space use to optimize everything. So like whether it's sleep, whether it's like whatever it is, like what are some of the ones that actually stood the test of time for you that you felt were impactful versus things that you tried that were just like stupid? Because like even when it comes to sleep, there are people that have like a chili pad on their bed. They have to have the temperature set a certain thing. Like some of these things I do get, but then some of them are like over the top for sure at a certain degree.
So I think like, all right, so my big picture response to biohacking in general is that placebo is a very strong effect, right? And so I think 99% of biohacking benefits come from placebo. Hey, placebo effects are still effects. So like, more power to them. But I think where they go wrong is that they become superstitions. And so then they can't fall asleep without the chili pad. They can't fall asleep if it's not perfectly dark. They can't fall asleep unless it's silent, right? And that to me feels like a handicap. And then what happens is just to have baseline sleep, you have to have 100 things in line, right? And so that's where I'd never want to be, which is why I'm a big fan of like there are no rules, which is like I don't have a strict bedtime. I go to bed when I'm tired, and I wake up when I'm not tired. And if I like there was a day 2 weeks ago where I just felt out of it, and I got up, I worked for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I slept for another 4 hours after that. I just felt completely, and I went to bed that night. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was sick. I have no idea. But I just I didn't feel productive at all. I was like, there's no point in me sitting in front of the computer. Like my brain's not working.
Yeah.
So biohacking in general though, I think that the things that there's like, is there a statistical significance and what's the effect size, right? Like this stuff more than I do. I think the vast majority of effect sizes are irrelevant for just about everybody. And so it's just the big stuff, you know what I mean? And I think that it's the same thing with training. It's like progressive overload, do more stuff for a longer period of time, like eat enough protein and sleep and do that. And do that for 20 years and you'll be big. You know what I mean? Like that's about it. And same thing, like, with the sleep stuff, it's like, I do think that having a cool, dark room really helps. I think it helps. I think it helps you fall asleep faster. Do people in India fall asleep every day when it's 85 out and they don't have AC? Every fucking day. And you know what? They wake up and they get to work. Yeah. And so how important is it? I don't know. There's people there who live a very long time and they do just fine. So I think a lot of us have just like gotten pampered and gotten really weak. And that's always been like my biggest fear was just getting soft. And that's why I just try not to like believe in too many of these superstitions. Even if they worked, how much do I care?
Do you do sauna or cold plunge or any of that stuff? No?
I am a 1 cup of coffee in the morning type of guy.
No cold showers, bro? What are you doing?
Yeah, no red light sauna. I don't even know how I function. You know what I mean? Like, how do I do it without if I don't get my cold plunge in, I can't talk to anybody. I was on this podcast recently that I just really bombed. And it was because I think the founder and I kind of disagreed because he was like, man, if I don't work out, I just, I have a horrible day. And I was like, I don't have that experience at all. I was like, I have more energy when I don't work out.
Dude, I wanted to talk to you about that too. As an entrepreneur, like the ROI on lifting hard, especially to failure, and the effect it has on fatigue for, like I find days I don't work out better for productivity, personally.
Of course. Yeah. I'm exhausted. I mean, if I train hard, I'm exhausted.
I'm fucked.
My CNS is shot. Like I'm good on for like interviews and meetings because I'm like way more mellow, but I'm not like, man, I want to go do this stuff. I'm like, I'm dead.
Yeah, if I do leg day, I don't feel good. I'm not like stoked to work. I'm like, fuck me, I want to die.
Yeah, I eat a bunch of pancakes, and then I'm like, I could take another 2-hour nap.
No, exactly. I don't know. I always wondered that, like when guys are like, oh, I don't feel good if I don't exercise. I'm like, are you going for a run and getting like sun, or like what is your workout? Because like for me, I'm like, if I'm going to failure in the gym, I'm getting home and I'm like, my brain is at least like 50% capacity what it was before I went to the gym. So
totally.
Yeah.
And there's also like, how hard do they train? And you know what? And like, I don't want to look at somebody and be like, I don't think you train that hard. I don't want to say that because like, how's that going to make a friend? Probably not. So I just say like, okay, I guess that works for you. Cool. And that's not me saying that about that guy. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. How do you time your workouts being mindful of that? Because like for me, like my gym I go to, it's less busy if I go earlier in the day, but at the same time, if I go and do legs at like, I don't know, noon, I know that my brain is going to be, especially my post-workout meal too, the amount of like carb fatigue I might get when I'm like slamming, all my post-workout nutrition and then sitting back down and trying to be mentally sharp as if I'm like, if I could compare like fasting to with coffee versus legs and post-workout meal and trying to do the same thing, magnitude difference of work quality. So like, how do you play that into your schedule?
I mean, real talk, I don't train that much. I'm in a season right now because I'm building acquisition.com that I'm not training nearly as frequently. So I was actually we actually did a collaboration with Stan Efferding. Do you know him?
Oh, yeah, he's sponsored by Merrick Health.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Stan and I trained over the weekend, and I was talking about how, I was like, yeah, man, I'm just probably training once or twice a week right now. And he was like, dude, enjoy the fruits of your labor. He's like, you just stay jacked because you already put the work in. Yeah. And it was kind of interesting because I thought about this, and it was kind of like having passive income because we've already built the asset of muscle, and there's still work that has to be done, but it's just much less work to maintain it. And so it's like there's a little bit of work that you have to maintain the passive income. So this is like a passive body for me. I'm passively jacked right now.
Yeah.
When I was actively jacked, I was bigger. I was 250 at my biggest.
What are you now?
I'm like 218. I'm like 30 pounds less.
How tall are you?
This is me just under 6, like a hair under 6.
Okay. 250, pretty hefty still at 6. Fuck.
Oh, I mean, I was big.
Yeah.
I was pretty big. I was strong as hell. It was great. But that was a season for me. That was like gym launch, and I was gym lords is the community, so I had to look like a gym lord. And I wanted to be the biggest, baddest motherfucker there, and so I trained like it. I mean, like my hips were killing me. I had all these little bumps and bruises. You know what I'm saying? Little itty bitty micro tears everywhere, and it was fine. I'm good with it. It was a season, but I don't see myself getting much bigger than I am now. If I train hard for 10 days, I'll be at 230. But this is just not my priority. And the thing is I'm sure the bigger I am, the more stress it's going to put on my organs and my heart. And I'd rather live longer. And so this is my passive body. Cold plunge, and outdoor walk, and red light sauna, and singing songs and affirmations, and that's very hard for me.
No, I feel like some of that stuff, when you get too in your head about it, it's like almost overwhelming the routine you develop to be an entrepreneur, and it's just overkill, and you'd be better off.
I had a young entrepreneur reach out to me. He said, hey man, I'm really struggling. He said, I'm doing something that my mentor told me to do. And he told me, and so he said, my whole morning routine takes me 3 hours. And he basically did that whole checklist. He's like, I walk outside barefoot 30 minutes so I can center myself. And then I do the red light sauna, and I do float tank, and then I do all this stuff, right? He's like, and it's just it's killing my day. He's like, by the time I start, it's 11 a.m. And he's like, because he also needs me to sleep this amount of hours and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, sometimes the work just needs doing, man. Yeah. like everyone, I think a lot of this stuff is productive procrastination, or people think it's productive procrastination, but it's just another form of procrastination. They feel like it's like watching TED Talks. It's like you feel like you learned something, but you're not making more money. You got to make 200 dials. Whatever way you want to do that, go for it. You know what I mean? But for me, the longer I'm putting it off, the longer I feel like I'm guilty about not doing it.